Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are. If you're seeing this live or if you are tuning in on a replay, welcome to Kingdom Health with Nurse Shirley. I do have to read a disclaimer first. The KRGN disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of KRGN 98.5 FM, its management, or other advertisers. KRGN 98.5 FM holds no responsibility for the validity or accuracy of information shared on this show. With that being said, y'all, I am on here with a very special guest. So last week we talked to this individual's mom, Dr. Sean Golden, and this week we are having her daughter to come on with us, and I'm going to read a short bio of hers, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring her in, and then we are going to get going from there. So. Miss Tiara McNeil was born in September of 95 in Fort Stewart, Georgia. During her early childhood, her family moved into Texas before relocating to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, where she spent much of her youth. She graduated high school in 2014 and later attended Remington College to pursue a certification as a medical assistant. While working towards her education, Tiara became pregnant with her son and faced health complications that required her to pause her studies. In April of 2015, Tiara welcomed her son into the world, beginning a life changing journey into motherhood at the age of 19. Shortly after she gave birth, she was diagnosed with lupus and a blood disorder, conditions that would significantly impact her physical and emotional health. Although the diagnosis officially came after seeing a hematologist in 2019, Tiara continued to persevere through the challenges while raising her son with the support of family and loved ones. In 2021, Tiara moved back to Hinesville, Georgia, seeking a fresh start in healing after surviving a domestic violence relationship. That following year, she rekindled a relationship with her childhood family friend, and that led to an engagement in 2024 and the birth of their daughter in January of 2024. Throughout the years, Tiara continued to navigate serious health challenges with resilience and faith. Following the birth of her daughter, she experienced severe medical complications, including blood clotting issues, a collapsed lungs, swelling, and a stroke on May 12th, 2025. Yeah, that was just last year. Despite these life threatening obstacles, she remained determined to fight for her health and for her family. In August 2025, she and her family relocated to Albany, Georgia, to support her fiance as he continued to pursue his higher education. I'm going to kind of stop right there because I really want to get her here in the room so we can talk about some things. I do want to talk about this last portion of her bio because I know that there are other people who have experienced health challenges, who have experienced bad relationships like domestic violence, those types of things, and they don't see a way through. But this guest is here to tell you that you can make it. So it says, despite enduring domestic violence, chronic illness, and numerous medical hardships, Tiara refused to allow her circumstances to define her. Her story is one of resilience, courage, and unwavering faith in God. Through every trial, she continues to walk in strength, raising her children, caring for her family, and embracing life with gratitude and determination. So, without further ado, everyone, please welcome to the stage Miss Tiara McNeil. Welcome, Tiara.
Hello.
Right. So, welcome again to Kingdom Health with Nurse Shirley. As I was saying, we want to here at Kingdom Health to bring we want to shine God's light in the mind, body, and spirit. That's the tagline for Kingdom Health. And so your story came to me as a result of interviewing your mom. And then, like a day or two later, I saw your testimony on Facebook and I was like, wait a minute, what? I wanted to invite you on because you are a young lady. I didn't calculate how old you are, but you're not old, right? You have endured such things in your life. We want to talk about that, and I want you to encourage the people all around the world because this show goes all around the world. And so, again, welcome, Miss Tiara. You can't be shy. I know you're not shy. So we're gonna start off the first part. So 1995, you were born. So what age does that put you at? Like I can't. Let me not do the math right now.
I'm 30.
You're 30.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
so your birthday coming up and you'll be 31. At
Yep.
30 years old, you have endured quite a lot of things. So lupus, that came, you were what, 20 at the time, 19
Hmm.
or 20 at the time when you were diagnosed with lupus. So
Yes, ma'am.
first of all, if you can, in your own words, tell us what lupus is.
It's an autoimmune disorder. There is no cure for it. One day you might be feeling good. Early that morning you could be feeling good, and then later on that evening, you could start feeling sick. Some symptoms I have there's different types of lupus. I have SLE lupus, which
Uh-huh.
is the systematic one. It attacks your lungs, it attacks your brain. Uh, you got flare ups, butterfly rash in your face. Your bones could start hurting, like arthritis in a sense.
Mhm.
Um, the most thing that I had at first would just be the butterfly rash in my face. I wouldn't like have any symptoms like whatsoever besides the butterfly rash in my face.
Mhm.
And then recently, over the past like year and a half, is when I started having symptoms of like body aches. And of course my lungs, because my lungs collapsed and stuff like that. That's basically what lupus is. It can make you depressed too. You could forget sometimes,
Mhm.
along those lines.
Okay, so really the only symptom that I was really familiar with in seeing people with it is that butterfly rash that you talk about. So, we even had to postpone our recording because you were feeling ill over the
Hmm.
past weekend when we were going to record. And I'm thankful that you're able to be here now. But I'm sure that encountering those types of illnesses that there's no cure for can, like you said, make you go into depression, anxiety, all those types of things. And so, what do you do as a 30-year-old mother of, is it you have one child or two?
I have two right
Okay,
now.
okay, yes, two and counting. So, what can you say about someone who has an autoimmune disorder and they are going off into depression and those types of things? What do you do when you find yourself in that manner?
I personally, I try not to let my lupus define who I am,
Okay.
because if you do, then I feel like you just make yourself even probably more sick. Like you're not gonna want to get out of bed. You got to push yourself to get up, because if you don't, now your bones and stuff are hurting more. I really just don't let it define who I am. Like that could honestly be hard sometimes, depending on what's going on in the situation. But I
Hmm.
mean, I have my kids that help me be able to get up and motivate myself, even if I don't want to. Some nights I don't want to get up and cook. I'm like, I don't want to do this. But it's
Yeah,
like, okay, well, they got to eat. So I
that's
get up and
true.
I do that. Sometimes it's hard to move around because I have my daughters too. My son is 11. That's a big age gap. It's like my
Hmm.
son can go and be on the game and be completely fine. But I have a 2 year old. So I have to get up with her and run around. I can't keep her in front of the TV all day. So she's part of my motivation, to make sure I get up and that I stay active. Because you should stay active with lupus. Um, I probably could do better being a little bit more active,
I think all of us could do better in the area of moving around.
and
Um,
I pray a lot.
okay,
Because I'm still here for a reason, obviously.
absolutely.
So I believe in God a lot. Some people be like, doctor's like, you still? Yes, I'm still here. So
Forever.
okay. So that's my motivation because I'm here for a reason. So I get up and I pray, and if my body is hurting, I make sure I manifest and I pray to God and I ask Him for what I need Him to do for me, and that helps me get up. You could pray all day, but you got to be active with it too. So
Come on. Yes. So what's that scripture? Faith without works is dead, right?
okay,
Yes, so you got to use all of what we are given, but we do know that there are some people out there in the world who don't pray. They don't know God. What are some other things that can be done? To like you say, you have your children, and so that gives you that oomph to go and keep moving. And I also saw, read in your bio about you had gone through a domestic violence situation, relationship, and so in those things, because I've experienced it myself, that my kids are what kept me going. My kids was like, okay, you got to keep it together because you have children, and if you don't make it out, then how are they going to be affected by that? So learning, just to keep on moving, to lean on Jesus, and um, make it to the next thing. And so you were diagnosed with lupus at 20 years old. And then you said, of course, your life would change, and you said, and a blood disorder. Is that one and the same, or is this blood disorder or something else?
it plays along with the lupus. It's I have a protein S deficiency,
Okay.
and I just recently found out a couple months ago that I also have a protein C deficiency, which triggers blood clots as well. So
Okay.
I have to be on blood thinner medicine for the rest of my life.
Okay. So, yes, I'm a registered nurse, but because I don't see this all the time and because I'm not bedside anymore, some of the, disease processes like are over my head sometimes. So going back and doing the research and, study on what it is so that um, I can help, people that come to me. You say there's no cure. Got it. But are there some things that you can do or use to help those symptoms subside a little faster or to comfort you while you're going through flare ups?
Yeah. I use the what is it? The green machine drinks. Because at first, after I had my first set of blood clots, and like say you're trying to like bend down or whatever, my legs would actually lock up, and it would be hard for me to get back up. So the some people can't drink greens. I mean, not drink greens, eat a lot of greens, depending on which medicine they're on, which is more so towards like the warfarin. They have to eat the same amount of greens and stuff every day. But I would use the green machine naked drinks, and that helped with my legs a lot. My grandma had sent me like some kind of like lupus tea that she found because my grandma was into like herbs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
I would drink that. It's all about what you eat. Also, I ain't gonna lie. I still eat whatever I pretty much want to eat, but what you eat does play a main factor in your flare ups, and it could help. Right now, with the flare up that I just had, my doctor prescribed me prednisone because
Mhm.
it's not a lot of things that I could take right now. So,
Okay.
prednisone, Epsom salt, soaking in the tub helps. Uh, that's mainly what I do.
Okay. So the prednisone is anti-inflammatory. So that is help with the swelling in your body. And so, yes, being under restriction, um, outside of pregnancy, are there other things that help? Because I know this is going around the world, and not everyone has a doctor that they can go to. Maybe they're
Yeah,
experiencing these things and they don't have health care. So they're not going to a doctor. Maybe they don't know they have lupus.
yeah. It's all about what you eat too.
Okay.
Like, I think of some things that I read. Like I said, I'm not going to sit up here online and act like I follow all the guidelines to make sure that I don't have a flare up. I pretty much do kind of eat whatever I want. But like fish and stuff like that helps people that I read. There's really like a list online that you could really that people could go to, and it could guide them about what they should eat to keep down certain to keep down your flare ups,
Okay. Awesome.
to
Awesome.
keep that down.
Okay, well, look, when I find all that information, I'm going to put it on my page so that other people can see it. Because, like I said, not everyone goes to a doctor, has regular health care. So
Yeah.
when you talked about lupus, so you did say the blood clotting issues, collapsed lung. When did that happen?
That happened August last year.
Last year. So tell me a little bit about the stroke, how you, what symptoms you exhibited. I'm gonna of course tell them what the acronym is for stroke, but tell us a little bit about that, because at that time you were what, 29 years old, having a collapsed lung, swelling, and a stroke. Go ahead and
Mhm.
talk. And it was right around Mother's Day. Now
Yeah.
that was the day.
So, my collapsed lung happened first. Both of them actually collapsed. I didn't know. I just was having like a hard time breathing, and then it was just like, just go to the hospital, just go to the hospital. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just go. So I went, and that's when they told me. Well, I was coughing up blood as well, like, and I was like, what in the world? And so I was just like, let me just go to the hospital and check and see what's going on. This was like 2 weeks prior to my stroke. So went to the hospital in Hinesville. It's a small hospital. There's not like really a lot they could do. So I had to take a helicopter and get flown over to the big hospital, which is like 45-minute drive, hour drive, but helicopter's faster. But I get there, they explain to me everything that's going on. So I had to stay in there for like a week, and then I had like a little machine that they had me on where I have to practice breathing every day to get my lungs back where they could possibly be, to see how far the little bar thing would go up each day. Um, it was hard to breathe. I kept coughing up blood. Eventually, I did, it got better, and I went home. But I still had to still make sure I was practicing each day on it. I had to like limit things that I could do because it's hard to breathe if your lungs are collapsed.
Right.
Um, then about 2 weeks later, I kept feeling like I had like a major headache, like right in the back of my head.
Okay.
Right in the back of my head, it just kept feeling like a major headache. Like it didn't, no matter what I did, took Tylenol, whatever, it still would just keep hurting. Like if I bent my head down, my head would still hurt. It got to a point to where it felt like my neck was stiff. Like I couldn't like move my neck or turn my head anyway. Like it was just like, and I called my mom, of course, and I'm like, Mama, my head hurt. Da, 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 da. And of course, my mom is 16 hours away. So
Right.
I went to the hospital once again. Like I said, the hospital in Hinesville is very small. I told them my symptoms. I had just got braids in my hair. And so the very first thing that the doctor asked me are like, are you sure your braids aren't too tight or whatever? And I'm just like, okay, awkward question, but like, no. They gave me morphine or whatever. And they gave me morphine, they gave me something else. And then I went home, and it felt like a little bit better, but it was just like a day or later, like the symptoms started again, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like my head is just, when I say it's like the worst pain, and there's nothing that you could do about it. And at that point, my grandparents had came down, and they brought me to the hospital, and they were saying that I had pulled a muscle in my neck because, like I said, my neck was hurting too. That's how bad the pain was. They gave me more pain medicine. They sent me home. They never did an MRI scan, none of that. So then, probably like 3 days later, I was running the in-home daycare, and so my mornings would start at like 5 in the morning, and so like I said, 3 days later, it's like Monday morning. Or so. It was May 12th, whatever day May 12th was, Monday or Tuesday. I know it was the beginning of the week. My parents are texting and saying, I'm here, I'm on the way. And like, I'm looking at my phone, but it's like I'm seeing double on my phone. And I'm like, am I tripping? Like, huh? And I'm just like, okay, I don't know. Like, I'm still just like, what in the world? And I wear contacts. So it's just like, okay, it could be my contacts. I need to switch them out. So I opened up the door for like my first two kids that came. And then it had to be like around 8 o'clock in the morning. I went to my car to go get something. And as I'm walking there, I'm just like seeing double the whole entire time. And I was like, okay, let me sit down for a second. I sat down in the car, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get back in the house because it's 8 o'clock in the morning. There's nobody outside. I'm like, I gotta make it back in the house. Like, Lord, because I'm like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. That's exactly what I told God. I said, Lord, I don't know what's going on, but please, you gotta let me make it back into this house. And it's probably like a good 20 to 15 steps from the parking lot to my to where our apartment door was. So the whole time I'm walking, I'm just like, Lord, please, please, Lord, please, Lord, please. So I get in the house. I made it in the house. I sit on the couch, and my head is just still just, and I'm just like leaning on the couch, rocking. And then one of my parents knock at the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I go to the door and I open it. And I opened the door, but then when I'm trying to let her kid come inside the door, like I did back up, but clearly I wasn't backed up enough for her son to be able to come inside of the door. So to me, it's like I'm back here and her son is like right here, but really we're like this. And so she's like, Tiara, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like blinking like 1,000 times because my eyes are like, to me, playing tricks on me. And then she was like, you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And then she was like, okay. And she still looking at me kind of funny. So, I go to, her son comes in, he goes to his mat, and I'm trying to shut the door. And she's like, Tia, are you sure you're okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. And then I was just like, am I even by the door? Because like I said,
wow.
The door to me, the door handle is like right here. To me, it looks like it's right here, but actually it's like I'm nowhere near it.
Oh, wow.
So she's like, Tiara, I'm just gonna bring him with me. And I'm like, okay. So then I started bagging up, and then I felt myself like going down, and then I just hit the. At that point, I'm guessing I just hit the floor.
Wow.
Next time when I wake up, I'm in the back of the ambulance, and they're asking me like 1,000 questions. Like they're going to ask you like, do you remember what your name is? What year is it? Who's president? Those are a couple of questions that I remember that they asked me. I answered it, and then they were just like, I need to call my mama. Like, I need to call my mom right now. After they told me everything that was going on, that I had a stroke and a seizure at the same time.
Wow. So I want to back up to the point where you went to the ER the first time, and they asked you, if your braids are too tight or whatever. So I've had instances where in this past year of going to the ER and them not believing me either. So we have to advocate for ourselves. If we know something is wrong, don't let anybody deter you, right? From saying, no, it's not because of my braids. It's not this, that, and the other. This is my history. And you make them do what needs to be done for you, because nobody knows our body better than we do, right? And if something don't feel right to you, then those things have to be reported. It's better to go in and nothing be wrong than to stay at home and die because you didn't think it was serious, or no one around you knew what was going on with you. I'm very glad that lady stayed at your house for when she did. That was God's intervention for you to get where you needed to be, because was it just you in the house with the children? You were the only adult there?
It wasn't. My sister-in-law, my brother-in-law, and my fiance were all actually there too. But it was like 8 a.m, so they're still asleep. So it's just like, if she wouldn't have been there, there's no telling how long I could have been laying on the living room floor.
Right.
So yeah, that definitely was God at the right time, because
God for that. So for the people, I just want to give a little, definitions and just some statistics about strokes. It says that adults 45 and younger experience strokes, as can infants, children, and adolescents. So as you can see, everyone, that this happened to a young woman, and it can happen to anybody. It says that our risk as females, as women, we have a higher lifetime risk of suffering a stroke than males do. It seems like we have a higher prevalence of everything, right? It's all good. That's the way the Lord made us. I wouldn't change it for the world, right? It says strokes are prevalent in women. Over 425,000 women suffer from a stroke each year, 55,000 more than men. Of that 44,000, 425,000, over 76,000 women will die from stroke-related complications, twice as many of those as those who will die from breast cancer. So yeah, that is something that will wake you up, make you think and to remember. And so, time with stroke, everyone, time is absolutely of the essence. It says strokes are the third leading cause of death in women in the United States, and the fifth leading cause of death in men. So that's pretty high up there, right? There are what, 8 billion, probably more people in the world, but we're dying at higher rates than as what men do. They're also a major cause of long-term disability. I see you don't look like, from looking at you, that you use any type of walking devices or any of those things, and so that is wonderful. And it says quick action and treatment is vital to avoid complications from ischemic stroke, which accounts for 87% of all types of stroke. You said yours was the other one, though, right? What type of stroke did you have? Did they tell you?
I honestly do not know. I know that it was a blood clot that went to the left side of my brain.
Wow. Okay. And the blood clot came from having lupus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so those are things that, if you're having symptoms out there that you want to go to the emergency room, don't let them tell you otherwise. If you're having, the headaches and all those different things, it's better to be safe than sorry. So I am going to read some of the signs or the symptoms of a stroke in women. And then I'm going to give like the acronym. Do you know the acronym for stroke?
I've read it before. I do not know about her. I
Okay,
know what to look out for though, because it didn't happen already.
absolutely. Did you ever have where your mouth turned at all?
No, the only thing was at first it would be like I'll talk with like a slur, or I have to really sit and think about what I'm trying to say to make sure
Mhm.
it comes out right.
Okay.
So that was like the only like, and sometimes I still forget. Like I'll be like, I could set my phone down somewhere and I'll be like, and it could be like 2 minutes ago that I just did it, and I still have to sit there. Sometimes I still have to think about what words I want to say to make sure my sentence come out right.
Mhm.
Um, so those are a little bit of the symptoms, or that I still have. But other than that, it's been a year, a little bit over a year now. So I feel like I'm doing good. You wouldn't know that I had a stroke if I didn't tell you.
At all. Not at all. First of all, I wouldn't have thought it if with someone who was 30 years old. Wouldn't have thought of, that, especially being the same thing. So that being said, we never know what people are going through from the outside. So we should never judge anybody. We should, if they don't have nothing nice to say, be quiet, all that good stuff, like our parents told us, right?
Right.
If you see somebody parked in the handicap spot, it ain't none of your business. If you don't see them
Okay.
with a cane or walker or whatever, it's none of your business. You don't know what they're going through. So keep your mouth to yourself, right? Your opinions to yourself. So in women, this is kind of like just like heart attacks in women. Strokes in women, they present differently. And a lot of times we as women, we don't perceive them as having a problem or as having a stroke. We think it's something else because, we're stressed out with the kids, right? So that can cause, a headache and this other thing, right? Or be nauseous, and nausea can come from anything. Being pregnant causes nausea, doing all these other things. And so sometimes we don't know what's going on with our bodies. And so it is imperative that we know the signs and symptoms of having a stroke, so that we can get to the proper place when we need to. But before I give y'all the universal signs of stroke, we are going to have a short commercial break, and then we'll be right back. All right, welcome back from our break. And so before we went on break, I was talking to Miss Tiara about the signs and symptoms of having a stroke. If you just tuned into us, you missed the whole first 29, 30 minutes of our talk. And so you want to go back to the beginning and watch the replay of Kingdom Health with Nurse Shirley. So Miss Tiara is 30, and when she was 29, she actually had a stroke. Now, it was something that occurred as a result of having lupus, and a blood clot broke off and went to her brain. She was at the right place at the right time to get the help that she needed, but not every person is so fortunate as to get the help that they need in time. So I want to read the signs and symptoms of having a stroke. I know there's a new acronym, is BFAST, and I don't remember off the top of my head what the B and E stand for, but I am going to give you the fast part. So the F is the face drooping. The face can droop, or it can like tingle, or you can also have face numbness or weakness in your face. And then the A stands for arm weakness or numbness, and it can be either arm, right? And then the S is what she said that she had, was her speech difficulty, slurring her words. So speech difficulty is definitely one of those signs and symptoms of having a stroke. And then the T is if you have any one of those three symptoms, that it is time to call 911. A person really only has 6 hours from the time of onset of those symptoms to that intervention at the hospital for you to even have a chance of those symptoms to be reversed and avoid the very seriousness of having a stroke. Some people make it and some don't. And I'm so glad that you, Miss Tiara, that you have made it, after having those symptoms, and that you didn't, I ain't gonna say you didn't procrastinate, but you weren't aware of what it was. So, but now that I know that you won't ever take that chance again, right? And say that you're and it is absolutely okay to say that you're not okay. And so, and for people around us to know, I mean, they don't have to know all of our health history, but anything that it can be life threatening, anybody that lives with you, your children, your family, absolutely need to know your health history, so that in the event of an emergency, they can actually help the right way. Would
Right.
you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am. I actually have, because like I said, my son he just made 11 in April. I actually have on my refrigerator, is in case he ever has to call 911, because like I said, I get seizures too. Um, on my refrigerator, it has my name, my date of birth. It has all my medicine that I take. When I take it, how I take it, how long I've been taking it. It
Okay.
has when I had a stroke and all that. It has our address on there. Um, all that information is on the refrigerator. So if my son ever does have to be the one to call 911, he knows to go to the refrigerator and he can read off to them everything that I have, or let alone when they get here, he will be able to hand them the paper, because you don't want nobody playing guinea pig with you. So
Right. You don't.
I keep I keep that on the refrigerator. So like even my fiance knows, or if there's any whoever's here, like this is on the refrigerator. This is a just I call the just in case of an emergency paper.
Yeah.
Here you go.
I would suggest to you also, if you don't do this, that you have another paper printed out and have it in your purse or whatever, something that you carry with you when you go
Oh
out
yeah,
the house. Anywhere that anybody that encounters you, if you go down, that they can find, because they're gonna be looking for
yeah,
identification,
they will.
right?
That is
So
smart. Yep,
yes,
do that
have that
too.
with you when you go out, because everybody doesn't know how to, take care of every ailment, right?
All right,
So some of those universal signs of a stroke are the sudden weakness, as we talked about. It can be in the face. It can also be in your arms, or it can be in your leg, right? Especially if the sensation occurs on only one side of the body. Sudden confusion, you talked about that, right?
right.
Difficulty understanding speech, you talked about that, right? Didn't you had said you had a headache?
Mm-hmm.
So sudden or and severe headache with an unknown cause, sudden trouble speaking, or speaking in a slurred and disorganized manner, and then that trouble seeing, because you had that too.
Mm-hmm.
seeing in one or both eyes, and then sudden trouble walking, loss of balance, loss of coordination, or dizziness. And man, it looks like you experienced pretty much all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the one thing I will say with that is if someone is experiencing the signs and symptoms of a stroke, you do not give them aspirin. Do not give them aspirin because any sign of bleeding or history of bleeding, because aspirin is a blood thinner, you don't want to give that with signs and symptoms of a stroke. If someone's having a heart attack, on the other hand, and they don't have any of those signs and symptoms of having a stroke, and they don't have a history of bleeding, then you can give them that dose of aspirin. So I just want to kind of make a distinction with that, and then we will talk about heart attack on another episode. I'm probably gonna weave it right into the one after this or sometime in the next month. So yes, so you have encountered many different things. You've had the chest, the pain, and did you have nausea or anything?
Nah, not at that
No.
point.
Okay. So there's a lot of different it says
Symptom.
there are seven additional, that's a lot of signs, isn't it? Seven additional signs of a stroke that are unique to women, according to the National Stroke Association. These are sudden pain in the face or extremities, sudden chest pain, heart palpitations or shortness of breath, sudden hiccups or nausea, and sudden weakness. Now, with all of these things, and even some of the things that you talked about with the lupus, those can be signs and symptoms of a lot of different things. So we don't necessarily have to, Google it and find out exactly what's wrong because that's wasting time, right? If you're not a medical professional, just go to the ER.
Right.
And if at all possible for us, do not go alone. If at all possible. I
Have
learned
somebody with you.
that. Yes, but I live alone. So if I'm having an emergency, I don't have, but if at all possible, either if you end up in an ambulance or whatnot, that you don't go to the hospital alone. Somebody's going to meet you there. They have your history, all of that good stuff. And so when I have my emergencies happening, I text my friends and I text them all of my stuff. So they had it. So if they show up here, tell them you that I'm your sister and come on in. Yes. So you have endured a lot, you've encountered a lot, but you're still thriving. You're still a beautiful young lady that has plenty of life to live ahead of you. I'm just going to scan through your bio one more time, and I want to make sure that we kind of hit, every point. How long actually did it take for your lungs to be okay? You said both of them collapsed.
Um, uh, Probably it started getting better like over 2 to 3 weeks. Started getting better. Sometimes I still like have to pause and take a break because we have steps in our house. So I have to pause and take a break sometimes so I could feel like, okay, it's getting a little hard to breathe. Or if I'm walking too much, I still got to pause and take a break. So I say it's gotten a lot better than what it was, but sometimes I still need that like pause. Like, all right, Tiara, you can overwork yourself. Calm down now.
Yeah.
So it's better, but it's still like they collapse. So they're not what they used to be. So
Mhm.
I can
So
still feel it a little bit sometimes.
yeah, you still have to be very careful. Wow. Okay. And so let's see what we got going on. Have you gone back to school? Just tell us a little bit about what you got going on now. If you have some things going on um, that you would like to put out to everyone.
I was running a daycare, but we moved, so I had to stop. And we stay in more of a college town now versus Army. So really, I'm just at home with the kids. And I would say I finally got my disability. If you are working, if you're trying to get disability, don't stop. Keep going. It is frustrating. I have been trying to get it since like 2017, and they
Okay.
just approved everything
Mhm.
in April.
Okay.
So from 2017 to
Right. That's a long time.
2026.
And I'm sure probably that your age has something to do with it, but a person can be disabled at any given point in their life. given the right circumstance, right?
Right.
So don't stop fighting for yourself. Don't stop advocating for yourself, not just to Tiara, but to anybody who has encountered any health issues and you're not able to take care of yourself like you used to,
Right.
right? You can't bathe yourself. You can't walk without assistance. You're having troubles in your life. Reach out to somebody. Its help is out there.
Yep.
Let me see. What would you tell somebody that finds themselves in a domestic violence relationship?
Leave. They're not changing. It don't matter how many times I'm sorry, I'm not gonna do it again. Leave, 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 leave. Because I stayed for 5 years, and I had to refine myself
Hmm.
completely.
Yeah.
Like, leave, don't stay. Leave. If they did it one time, they will do it again, and each time it's probably going to get worse. I was blessed enough to be able to walk out alive. And even, I'm not even gonna lie, even when I did leave, I still find myself trickling back over there because it's something that you're used to,
Mm.
or you have a I'm not even gonna say used to. I'm not gonna use that. I'll say soul ties with.
Ooh, that's good.
That's what I'm gonna say. Soul ties. So your body just, you craving something that you don't even need to be craving. Number one, and you just keep going back because I don't leave. Leave, 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 leave. And I should have known better for the simple fact that a church member, my youth leader, passed away from domestic violence. And
Mm.
then,
Sorry to hear that.
yeah. And then I stayed over there. Leave. They not going to stop. It's going to get worse. I had actually had, that person had messed up a disc in my neck because it
Mm.
choked me out until like I go unconscious. Um, my mom tried to help, and even if you are somebody who is trying to help somebody leave the domestic violence relationship, they have to be ready to leave on their own.
That's so true.
They have to, because my mom literally drove from Killeen
Hmm.
to Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and she was willing to bring me back with her.
Hmm.
Come on, Tiara. And I'm still just like, but thinking this person gonna change.
Hmm.
I went to, and then part of the reason my mom knew was also going on because I worked at our church daycare, and so I would go in there with like a black eye. I could have my arm, I couldn't move my arm, and that person, you don't have to work no more. You can stay. You can stay at home. You good. I'm gonna take care of you. No, you just don't want nobody to see what you did.
Wow. Yeah.
But leave. They not gonna change. Leave. I am high on that. Like, leave.
Yeah.
Mm.
And there are situations when it can be dangerous to leave, and I know that that fear, comes over a person, but whatever means you have to take. And I know sometimes it's financial abuse, so they don't allow you to work, and so you don't have an income. And so
Right.
when you don't have nothing, they feel like, oh, they ain't gonna leave. They solely dependent upon me, this, that, and the other.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever way you can to stash some money away so that you can leave, even if you leave with nothing in your pockets. You
Right.
you have life, but
Right.
do it in such a way that you can make that make that plan to leave when they're gone, not when they're there.
Yeah. Don't do it when they there. Though.
Right. You just play the
Play the
game
game.
until you know that you can get away safely. So it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you on this afternoon, Miss Tiara. Is there anything else that you would like to say to the people?
Stay prayed up. Um, God will bring you through anything, even if it feels like He won't, or you think that He won't, or it doesn't look like it. He definitely will. That's who I call on all the time. I've been getting sick for as long as I can remember. I go into doctor's office and tell them how many blood clots I didn't have, and they look at my history and they look at me crazy. And I'm like, it's because of the good Lord, okay? I'm telling you now. Um, but trust in God, don't lose faith, stay prayed up, make sure if you are dealing with anything that you also pray to God, have you someone that you can always count on to talk to, don't hold anything in. That's really all.
That's awesome. So I do want you, if you don't mind, to pray us out.
Yes, ma'am, I could do that.
All right, go ahead.
All right, dear God, thank you for waking us up this morning. Forgive us for anything we might have thought, said, or done in Jesus' name. Dear God, thank you for everything that you've done and everything that you will do, dear God. Thank you for food on the table. Thank you for clothes on our back. Thank you for us being able to move each and every body part in our body, dear God. Thank you for keeping us safe while we go throughout our day, dear God. Thank you for keeping your angels surrounded around our house, homes, workplace, cars, dear God. Dear God, thank you for everything that you've done, everything that you will do, dear God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So you be encouraged, both you, Miss Tiara, and everyone who watches this. Make sure that you like this and that you share with somebody. Somebody you may not know may be going through one of these very things that Tiara talked about. So y'all have an amazing rest of your day, your week, your month, your year. And don't forget that God